What happened to Art and Bree? Today we're going to try to fill you in a little bit on that question. Hey guys, sorry it's been so long since we posted a video. It's honestly completely my fault. That's the honest truth of it. I make the videos. Bree even told me before Christmas, hey, you should make a video and just tell folks it probably will be a couple weeks before we make another video.
Because we just get really busy around Christmas time like you guys, and both of our families live nearby, so we spend a lot of time with family over the holidays. So I knew it would be after the holidays before we would get back to making videos.
But I had my hopes set on this actually really great video. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll tell them that, but I'm gonna make a great video. And so I was basically in denial about how busy we were and how much time that I had, and so I didn't make a video. We've had a really wonderful, busy Christmas season, which we'll tell you a little bit about. And then kind of a little bit of a rough time after Christmas for a couple reasons. So that's what we're going to talk about today, give you a little update. Mostly though, we're here just to say we're alive and well. And we're sorry for those of you that were worried about us, because I know some of you have reached out and sorry, folks,
sent messages, and I know that this is our life and that we don't have to explain it to people, but I do care. I care when people worry about us, so I am sorry that we worried you. But Christmas was awesome. We saw so much family and spent a lot of time together and with our family, which is what we love at Christmas time. And it does get busy, but it's busyness that we choose, so we don't feel like overrun by it. We enjoy all of the events we get to participate in.
Yeah, we had a great time. I will say by the end of our Christmas day, we were really tired. We've been running, and I don't know if that's my ideal Christmas season. It's hard though, because we're trying to see a lot of family, we're trying to see friends, and so we're going and doing a lot of things, and a lot of those honestly involve some driving. And
we drive a lot of driving. Even though our family's local, it's still 3 hours of driving a day usually. I
worked on Christmas Day.
Yes, that's true.
Nurses have to work on Christmas sometimes. It was a really rough day, honestly. Sometimes Christmas Day at work can be fun. It was really rough, but we did save a life or two.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And tried to help everyone have as good a day as possible, patients and staff. And then we, as a family, celebrated Christmas together the day after Christmas. Cows?
Yeah.
Cow. Look at that. Moo.
Thank you. Very good.
My boy.
We figured we'd go back to making videos right after the holidays, but right around the holidays, I actually had some health issues come up suddenly, kind of suddenly. If you remember last year, I had an eye condition suddenly come up, and it also got taken care of and corrected, and I thought that was that. And right around the holidays, my vision in my left eye suddenly got really, really bad. And it was getting progressively worse every day and was really scaring me. And the eye offices were all closed. And as soon as I could, though, I got an appointment with a retina specialist. I see a retina specialist for my eye. And went to that appointment, and he just diagnosed it as the same thing as last year and basically just said, here, use these eye drops, you'll be fine. And my gut told me that it was something different, that there was more going on. And so I actually got a second opinion. It still took, was it another week before I could get the second opinion? So then I got the second opinion. The whole time my vision in my left eye is getting progressively worse to the point where I really can't see out of it. And went to the second appointment, and we were told in that appointment that no, it was not the same diagnosis, that it was actually a much more, what's the word? It was a much more serious diagnosis. And I can tell you the names of all this stuff, but please don't try to diagnose me outside of this. I am seeing a retinal specialist. So originally my diagnosis was something called central serous retinopathy, and you can look that up to see what it is. And then this time around, though, The new diagnosis is something called choroidal neovascularization. And the long and short of it is that because of the central serous retinopathy, my body is trying to heal the central serous retinopathy, but it's actually injuring itself more by doing that. And because of that, it's actually making me go blind or lose my central vision in this eye, which actually is considered blindness. So we had a lot to discuss with the doctor and to think about and to research. He recommended getting these anti-VEGF injections into my eye, which some of you may actually get those. Anyone that has wet macular degeneration gets those injections. So it's a very similar, what's happening with my eye is very similar to what happens with wet macular degeneration, but the cause of what's happening to my eye is different because macular degeneration is age-related and this is not age-related. They actually don't know what causes it. So there you go. So that has been kind of knocked us out of our seats a little bit, realizing that I could lose my vision in one eye, that I actually have so far lost my vision in this eye. Like, I can't see. The injections are hopefully going to stop the progression because I do have vision around the outside. Like, I can't see. If I just look like this, like, I can't see you guys. I can't see the camera. But I can see out.
You can see them?
I can't see all around the outside of the camera. So the hope is to stop the progression. There's a small chance it could slightly improve my vision, but the most likely thing is that it'll hopefully stop it getting worse. So we had to do a few more appointments, and those appointments kind of take us all day just because of the distance we have to drive to go to them. So right after the holidays, we've just had all these eye doctor's appointments, and we've also just been kind of like in shock a little bit that I'm losing my sight. And I know a lot of people will say, well, at least you still have sight in one eye. And like, I totally get that. I think perspective is a very important thing to have in life. But I also think that I have definitely been sad and grieving the loss of my vision. I mean, it was shocking and sudden.
Yeah. Perspective is a good thing, but also depth perception.
Depth perception is
nice.
Also a really good thing, which I have lost a lot of depth perception. Though I have to say, the last few days, I feel like this eye is making up for this eye. Because,
super eye.
Yeah, because the first couple weeks, I really didn't have depth perception. I was really unbalanced because of my eye. I just like couldn't deal with the double vision and things like that. But it seems like this eye is actually, my body's starting to adjust. My brain is starting to adjust, which is really hopeful for me because I thought, whoa, if this is what my life's going to be like for the rest of my life, this is really hard. So I think we have a little bit of hope, knowing that we have a treatment plan. I know I am a little bit worried because they don't know what causes it and what if it happens to my other eye, and I wish I knew the cause so that I could prevent that cause. But yeah, so we're seeing I found out actually because I did a bunch of research on him. He's in top 5% of doctors in the country. So that's kind of nice. The treatment itself is pretty awful. Having a needle stuck in your eye is not fun. I had my first one a few days ago, and it was pretty bad. It was pretty awful. But you do it, and I was really blessed. Excuse me. Right before my appointment, I was like terrified because in my mind, I don't know why I didn't research I wish I had looked up a video of the way the procedure went. But in my mind, I imagined laying there and they like stick a needle straight into my eye. And that's what I thought was going to happen. And so I was just like terrified. And we were sitting in the waiting room, and I feel like God just like gave us this blessing of these neighbor people in the waiting room with us, and they find out that I'm having my first injection, and they're there for injections as well. And they just start encouraging me and making jokes and laughing and just made me laugh a lot and lighten up before my first injection. And they also told me about how it doesn't come out your eye, it comes from up under, which totally makes sense. Like, that makes so much more sense than going straight through your eye, through your lens, But anyway, these were some older folks. I was definitely the youngest person in the office every time by about 30 years, which is fine. So So I'm just thankful that really made the day so much easier. That little crew of people that none of them knew each other, none of them knew me. They're just being encouraging.
One thing, so the shops are really pretty terrible, and the meds kind of.
They're really gross meds.
Anyway, they think that she will not need them indefinitely, but need them for a course.
Right.
For a series of shots, and then may not need them ever, or probably more likely may not need them for quite a while.
For a while, yeah. I mean, most likely I will need them again and again and again throughout my life, but it's a little different. People with macular degeneration, which is or even like diabetic retinopathy, they get these injections. Usually have to have them every month indefinitely for a long time. I mean, the people we were talking to were getting them for years, and I just thought, wow, if these people can come here every month, some of them get them in both eyes every month. I can do this, So it was really encouraging to me. But at the same time, like coming to terms with the loss of vision, most likely forever, in one of my eyes is pretty rough for me. Mainly because now I've only got one eye. And so what happens if something happens to the other one? So we've been walking that out. And I think the stress of that, on top of the stress from losing our home and moving into the camper, I feel like we've handled that stress really, really well. And then it feels like all of a sudden it just like caught up to us. Like the last few months of our life, which has been awesome. Like it's not been a bad thing, but I just think the compilation of all these stressors finally just like hit us. And I wouldn't say we broke, but I think what happened was we realized we need a break. And so
I'd say we broke or crashed. I mean, it was a bunch of factors. One, it was being really tired from Christmas, which Christmas was awesome, like up to Christmas Day. And then really, so just after Christmas, we're going to these appointments, kind of overwhelming, just concern, worry, like this is all new and quite stressful.
Very stressful.
And then at the same time, nearly everyone got sick.
Oh, I forgot
with
about that.
With a nasty GI bug. Like all of this happened like at the same time.
No, literally, like we had them at his mom's for one of my eye appointments. We'd go to pick them up and they all start throwing up.
And the only ones who didn't get sick were me and Justice. Everyone else got really very sick briefly, and some of them for a little longer. Just nasty GI symptoms. I won't even tell you.
It's really our first illness of this winter, or significant illness. Every single person, all the kids sleeping, have their throw-up bowls. This guy's thrown up a dozen times. We're just sitting here watching him, making sure it doesn't get all over everything in him and that it makes it in the bowl. So it's probably going to be a long night. And I'm supposed to get up at 5 in the morning to go to work. Maybe they won't need me tomorrow. I don't know.
So all that to say that I think the compilation of the stress of finding out about the mold, moving out of our house, moving into a camper, trying to figure out what to do with our house, and the best way to go about it, that actually has been pretty stressful. We're still trying to figure that out. The holidays, my eye, the kids being sick.
We also got some really sad news, which I won't talk about specifically in here. It was just like a lot of stuff hit us at once.
Yeah, we did get some very sad news.
And
and so we realized we needed a break, and we needed to step back, and we needed time to get clear heads, which is such a good thing.
So we're at the Rhodes house. A lot of y'all saw us in their video yesterday, and probably many of you were like, "Oh, well, they're alive. That's good."
Yeah.
And others were wondering, "What are they doing there?"
What are they doing there?
So we're basically staying with the Rhodes for a little while. I'm not entirely sure how long. A couple days at least, and we're helping them out with the morning chores, getting some of our own, kind of retreating to our own rooms. But then, and I've been back at the camper and our property every day. It's not like we just left our animals.
Yeah.
So as soon as we're done here, we helped with the morning chores, had our breakfast. As soon as we're done here, I'm headed up there, gonna buy some hay or look at some hay check on all the animals, throw hay to the animals. And so it's just a combination. Like, I think if I had my way, I would probably stay up there, but I don't always make the best decisions about what's best for me. I tend to want to be independent and not depend on other people, not lean on other people. And Bree tends to be more in tune to kind of not only what she needs, but what we need. And honestly, it's been really refreshing
nice.
down here. The roads have been generous enough to let us stay with them, which is kind of an invasion in their space, a pretty big invasion. And the kids are having an awesome time. You're getting
I'm getting
time just not in the camper,
room.
and also some fellowship.
Yeah.
Connection, encouragement. Something, we were out milking with Justin this morning, and something, it's just good to get a different perspective.
Yeah. And
we were kind of drowning there at the last. And so that's what we're doing.
I feel like for me, what I knew I just needed a place to breathe. And specifically here offers that in a way that other places don't, because one, there's just a comfort level with these friends that we have, but also our children. To be honest, our children just play all day long, which gives me some time to think. And that's kind of what I feel like I need right now, because we have a lot of big decisions to make with our house, and there's just no clear answers. And it's really hard to think when it's just nonstop activity. And that's kind of how the camper's been. It's almost like the kids have forgotten how to play by themselves or go be alone. Mm-hmm. Because we're just always together, which is fine, but they do need to know how to do that. So it's they're remembering again how to do that here, how to go to their own space and play, and go read a book, and go, or go play with friends, or go play with Legos by themselves. And it's been a good reminder to me that oh, that's part of the reason I've been so overwhelmed, is because my kids aren't doing that in the camper.
Yeah.
And to realize that okay, I've got to start setting that up. It's harder to do it in the camper, so I have to now be intentional to make that happen. Whereas before, I didn't know what was going on, mm-hmm. and why I wasn't getting any space to think or breathe, or, mm-hmm. which usually you just get that naturally in a day, because your kids will just go do their own thing for a little bit. So that's where we've been. We weren't intentionally not making videos. I wish we had been. I wish we had made a decision at one point, we just need to take off the next few weeks and made a video about that. Well, we were going to before Christmas, but really the last couple of weeks weren't intentional. And
I know, I was even ready to start back, and I said, hey, we'll start back on the 2nd or something, and then
well, my eye stuff, that's when that all went
that's
down.
The thing. I posted, some of y'all saw it, I posted on YouTube and their community tab, and I posted hey, I'll start making videos tomorrow, I think.
Oh no.
It's terrible. And
I didn't know you
that
did
didn't
that.
happen.
Oh. So here we are. We're alive. We are getting what we need. We are figuring out our next steps. I mean, we say all these hard things have happened, and they have, but I feel at the same time. So the one thing is, these are hard things, and we need time to process them and think about them and figure out how to keep going and moving forward.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, please know that we're really okay.
Yeah.
We're solid. Our family's good. Our relationship with God is good. There's hard things in life, and you just have to figure them out. And that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, it's one of the challenges of presenting kind of challenging stuff on YouTube is you don't want people to think you're complaining or saying hey, we need you to do something for us, or our life is miserable. Yeah. It's really more strangely enough, it's still strange to me, it's really more kind of we're sitting down with people we know and saying, hey, here's what's going on. That's it.
We're just kind of trying to tell you what's going on.
And I'll briefly talk about what's going on with our house, and I'm not actually really going to talk about it. What I'm going to say is that we are still moving forward on it. We're actually, the past 3 days through this whole process of stepping away from the camper and our property a little bit and having a little more space, we've been kind of rethinking things. We may completely change course and do this job with cash, essentially, with me doing the work. We've gone back and forth between these two plans, and one of them is get a contractor, get a loan because we're talking about a big project, putting an addition on the house, like completely clean out under the house, gutting the house. And then the other option is not to do the addition and do the whole job with cash, which I think we can do. It's a big job.
We might run out of money at the end and then have to kind of
so we're not
make money and then
there's nothing, we're not hiding anything on this. There's
been nothing to say.
Yeah, we've been kind of hovering in this design time, which we're actually about to make some big progress on. And then just the past days, we've been saying, wait a second, maybe we should do this a little bit differently. We will make videos on this, honestly, and I think it's going to be really fun to share actually as this is rolling forward, what we're doing and how we're doing it. I am confident that in a year, we're going to have our house done and we're going to be in it and it's going to be awesome. It might go over a year, but hopefully not.
No, I can't do that. We have to set some... I can't do a whole year, a whole another year. We've already been in the camper for like 4 months.
So basically with the house, we're not really, I don't think we're off track. Nothing bad is happening. It's just our pre-renovation progress has been on the slow side, which I honestly think
I think it's kind of a normal progression.
Yeah, and the great thing is that in about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it's going to like actually be moving towards spring. Like the days are getting longer. It's going to be starting to warm up, and that's going to make our life out there a lot better as far as temperature and stuff.
Yeah, and I think too, like...
and then mud after not too long when the grass starts
when
growing.
The mud goes away. One of the hard things for me, having been in the camper, isn't the camper. It's like seeing the house every day and the stress of knowing we haven't even begun. And trying to have grace and trying to like keep things in perspective. Like, this is just how this goes. You're not behind, you're not doing anything wrong, but also knowing that like it's just sitting there is really hard for me. No matter how much pep talking I do to myself or telling myself the truth every day, like it's really hard for me to sit there and just see my house just sitting there.
Honestly, I just think it's super generous, the roads that let us come out here. It's not because they're letting us stay here, but it's the willingness to share their life with us. And some people, someone might say like, oh, well, you're working out there. And it's like, we're really not.
They're not asking us to work. We just enjoy getting up and doing chores together.
Yeah, we're actually getting to jump in on one of the coolest lives that you could live. That's the truth, honestly.
Yes, and it's fun doing things with your friends.
Yeah, us and the kids. The kids too. We'll see you soon. We'll update you with a video in the next couple days. I'll do my very, very best.
See you guys later.